Steve Morales here, and today I'm going to be covering the flat-footed squat. A lot of people see a squat, they're thinking of stuff that you're going to be doing at the gym, barbell on your back, something like that. But we also have a tendency to forget what the intent of this squat is. And typically, you're going to be using it for, if we didn't have chairs or anything like that, you're going to be using it for a resting position, to go to the bathroom, yes, to go to the bathroom, and then also if I'm going to gather food, right? I might actually be in that position to gather food. So it's a very dynamic movement, but a lot of people don't use it for that. Basically, we sit in desk chairs and all that other stuff, and over time, because of that position, you end up losing the range of motion to get down into a flat-footed squat. Now, with this, I'd have a wider stance, and I would actually come all the way down here, and I just rest here, okay? Now, if your hips are really, really tight, you have the tendency to try and move your feet out wider. If that's what you have to do initially, that's okay. Usually we slowly want to get them so they're not quite as tilted out. Here, this is more resting, and I actually have my back rounded. I'll show you this from the side. So I'm actually here with a rounded back. If I was going to take load, I would need to raise my back up, flatten it out, and then I could stand up with that, okay? I wouldn't want to have a rounded back in that position if you're going to hand me something and then I'm going to stand up out of that position. Now, with this, one of the main limiting factors is actually going to be dorsiflexion. That's the ability for my ankle to come up like this. So for a lot of people, they don't have that range of motion anymore, myself included, to a degree. So they're going to need to do a mobility practice where they're foam rolling their calves, they're doing calf stretches, they're working on that dorsiflexion. Just because, like I said, that's going to be the limiting factor. How you can tell too is if you put your feet together and you come to squat down, how far can you get, right? I get about there before I start to tilt back because my ankle's so tight it can't get into that position, it starts to push me back. Second one is going to be your hips. That's where you'll see from the side, you can get somebody down on their toes and they can stay here with their back upright, but if you tell them to keep their back upright and put their heels down, right, they have to round their hips tight. Boom, pulls them back, okay? So, remember what the intent of this movement is. Try to get into it more, right? Sitting on the couch and all of that is okay in limited spurts, but if you can, really start to get into this position. Sit on the ground. And what I want to cover today, too, is just some techniques that you can do to help improve that. One of them is buy a little stool, right? This is going to be odd, but I got this, I believe, from Ross. 15 bucks. This is actually a cat pillow, though. So a little bit odd, but I love this thing, right? It's just high enough that I can come here and I can sit down like this, right? You'll see this in the natural movement community. A lot of people buy these little bolster deals so they can sit like this and slowly work their way into being able to do a flat-footed squat for longer and longer periods of time. Essentially, this replaces their couch or the chair that they would have sat in. Here, too, I can do stretching, too, which is what I like it. So I can actually do my butterfly stretch and sit like this and get a stretch while I'm doing this, right? You kind of like acclimate your body to these positions by getting in them more. Erwan LaCour, the founder of MoveNat, the owner of that, and I'm certified personal trainer in that, but I love his quote where he says, stop having mental masturbation about doing squats. Stop thinking about doing squats and just start doing them more, right? So this is a way to get in these positions, right? So I'm here more, right? I also like to do crisscross applesauce, and then I can kind of lean forward and push out on the knees, right? You can get into it. A lot of people, especially the people that I train, can't even do crisscross applesauce anymore, right? They can't do the Indian sitting or whatever you want to call it, right? They can't get into that position anymore. Their knees are too tight, their legs are too tight, the lower back is too tight, right? They round like this when they're there. This is also great because I could just sit here and I can be in these various stretching positions. So it's movement kind of in a regular static position that you would assume. If I'm sitting on the couch, usually you're just going to be sitting on the couch not doing anything, right? You might have slight shifting. Here, I'll actually be moving more, right? So instead of just sitting in one static position, this kind of forces me to move, right? So that's one variation that you can do. The other one, get a 2x4, right? I have these blocks right here. We're going to use this for right now. But a 2x4 is really, really cheap. You can cut it too, and you can have them cut it at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And a 2x4 is typically like $2.50, right? $2.50. but have them cut it into a shorter deal, or if you want to leave it super long, up to you. And what this is going to allow me to do, I'm just using the blocks for right now, it's going to elevate my heel. I could use books as long as they're the same size. Now my heels are elevated. So now in this position, because it actually gives me a greater range of motion for that dorsiflexion that I'm missing, right? I can come here and it's actually more comfortable now, okay? I can also use this kind of as that stepping stone in order to get into that flat-footed squat over time. What I mean by that is, this is about two inches. Maybe I shave that down to 1.5 inches, and then 1 inch, and then 1/2 inch, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a flat-footed squat with better posture. So I'll actually use this as a tool to help with my clients that struggle with just doing a regular like squat as an exercise. They can't quite hip hinge as much as I would like them to, so they end up loading their back because they're rounding their back more. Here I can get them, and we won't go all the way down, but I can get them to stay more upright. So I'll show you what this looks from the side here. So heels are going to go right here. So now with my body upright, I can actually sit in this position better and more comfortably, okay? But don't use it as a crutch. Use it as something that's going to assist you in getting to where you want, right? If I never improve from this, right, it's a couple years down the road and I'm still doing this, I haven't really pushed myself to make that progress, okay? And it does take a while, I will say that. The other one, and that would be more of like a resting position. The other one, and I actually posted a video on my Facebook page of Erwan doing this. He did it with a tree, but we're gonna do it right here with a door frame, is taking this, getting your feet where you want them, slowly walking your body down into this position, and then exploring that position, right? Leaning in, twisting the body a little bit, moving around, right? So that you can actually get into this position with some assistance. Because usually, like I said, for some people it's getting here, and the hips are so tight or the ankles are so tight, so if they didn't have this, boom, they roll back, right? So being able to get here and kind of explore this space just by getting into it, okay? Something like this too, I'd get down there as long as you feel comfortable. About 45 seconds to a minute is usually what you're going to be able to tolerate at first, and then you can slowly build up over time. The longer you can hang in that, I mean, the longer essentially you could hang here. You might not have the same posture there, but you can hang out here more, okay? With this, the progression is eventually I want to get my feet close together for a flat-footed squat if I can. But for some people, they might be out here and they might be wide for a while. I can still explore that same thing where I'm shifting and moving my weight around, right? Pushing out on my knees as I'm here. Another thing I like to do too, this is just for thoracic spine rotation, is placing my hand here and turning my body up. Stretches not only my thoracic spine, my upper back, but also my hips, right? They can stretch like that also, okay? And I would do that for a couple cycles. I mean, back and forth, probably 3 or 4 times. So this has been a video on the intent of the flat-footed squat, how to improve it, right? How to get into the position if you do have lower back pain, knee pain, ankle problems, anything like that. I like Dr. Mike from Post Rehab, I'm a medical exercise specialist. I love his quote though, and it's, don't ice skate through pain, okay? If something is extremely painful here in a very, very bad way, don't do it. Figure out what's going on. You probably need soft tissue work or something like that. Or you need to go find a medical exercise professional, a physical therapist, a good chiropractor so they can help you figure out what is going on so you're not hurting yourself in these movements, okay? So, if you guys have any questions or comments, please do that below. If there's anything else that you want to see also, please let me know. And I'm going to put my Facebook business page in the description box. I'm also going to put a link so that you can actually go to Natural Movement. This is kind of Erwan's new side project where he's shooting short little videos on these movement skills that I'm covering here, but it's really showing you this is what it is, this is how you get into it, and what the intent of the movement is, right? We've kind of divorced intent away from our movement skills, and I love to see that he's bringing it back and showing us what these are actually for. So, until next time, thank you so much for watching. And actually in the next couple weeks, check back because I am going to have a video covering some of the mobility stuff that you can do for your ankles that are going to help you with this. Thanks for watching.